on his actions?
Well, they can if they can arrest. They can arrest anyone if they need to. I mean, I don't think there is an age. The question is, once an arrest is made. Now, I hear you. I heard the story. They were yelling he was yelling or she was yelling at the cops, and they're trained to absorb that. They're trained not to react, and oftentimes that's applauded. Now, if there's a danger or if they need to make an arrest for their safety, for the suspect's safety, or to investigate a crime, they can do that. The question then becomes, where does that person go? What is their age? Are they in adult jail, or are they in the detention center for youth? And typically that's the age of majority in Alabama is 19. But again, you hear about, okay, if the crime is serious enough, then they can be charged as an adult, and that changes things. So it's not a set age, but that determines where you go, and then the charge also determines where you'll be housed as well.
I'm surprised they would argue with him for that long.
Yeah, right.
They've got very tolerant police officers.
Yeah, that's right.
We've got Mary on the line with a question from Rogersville. Hi, Mary. Thanks for calling in. What's your question?
Hi. Yes. My question is, this guy owned this property out here, and he sold off all the lots out here, and he named it a Bobo Lane. So now the county will not take care of our road out here, and there's 11 families back here that has electricity, pays land taxes, water bill, all of that, but they will not take care of our roads, and now the mail carriers even quit bringing our mail out here because of the road. Can they do that?
Now, how were they getting to you before?
They were bringing our mail out.
On that exact same road?
Yes, trying to say that the road is so bad they will not put their cars out here no more. But we have to put our cars out here. We're treated unfair.
That is interesting. That's a good question. So I was looking at a case the other day where the city came in, paved a road. It was not their road, and actually they had an easement somewhere else, and they were trespassing, okay? Then there was saying argument that they're not going to maintain or monitor that road because it's not their road, and the easement was to the north or south of that particular road. We're still going through we're still going through that. I'm trying to help him out. So your issue, it seems like you guys had utilities, and there might be some sort of a legal process to where you can force them to provide at least those basic services. Now, the owner of that property, usually there's an easement before they'll allow lots to be placed back there, allowing the city, county, or whoever's supposed to be in charge, the government entity, to then maintain that road for their vehicles, for fire, police, mail. Sounds like they've cut that off. So there may be an argument between the owner and the city or county as to whose property that actually is. So you may want to get to the bottom of that first. There are strength in numbers, so you may want to get with the other neighbors and go talk to a real estate attorney that handles municipality liability. And that'd be where I would start.
Good luck with it, Mary. We've got Remy on the line with a question from Florence. Hi, Remy. Thanks for calling in. What's your question tonight?
Hi, Sharon. Hi, Will.
Hey, Remy.
I had asked you about this before, Will. I have a judgment. Actually, I was sued and then countersued and won the suit, and so the judgment was awarded to me with, I think, 5 or 6% interest until paid off. And I had asked you about it. The suit was actually filed, I believe, in Texas, and then it went to court in Arkansas, which is where the judgment was done.
I remember this.
And I wondered, how long is the judgment good for if you haven't collected on it?
All right, now in Alabama, it's good for 10 years, and you have to refile that judgment with the court, I think the probate court, to re-up and make sure that extends that time for you to try and collect it. Now, if it was an Arkansas case, we need to check the law. I don't know what the Arkansas law is, but how long is that valid? In Alabama, it's 10 years. I suspect something similar, but look up the Arkansas law, and you have to refile that if you do not recover within that time frame.
Just having a judgment, a person's not necessarily ordered to pay it, right?
Well,
they got to go get it sometimes.
They're ordered to pay it, but if they refuse, what's the reality? What's the reality? Oftentimes, you file what's called post-judgment interrogatories and discovery to find out, where the money is, where the insurance is. If it's specific performance, then they have to do something or not do something. Those are their laws in equity, which are a little bit more difficult to enforce. Oftentimes, you'll see evictions where the officers will come out and force someone out. So there's different levels of enforcement. But in this particular case, judgment doesn't mean you automatically get it. I got a drawer full of verdicts and judgments, but they won't buy a cup of coffee because there's nothing behind them. And so under United States law, Alabama law, it matters who harms you. Do they have coverage? Do they have insurance? Do they have assets to go ahead and call, to remedy the damage they caused? And so that's why when people go to get insurance, you want to at least have enough insurance to cover your assets so you don't have to go and dispose of them to pay any judgment. So yes, you're exactly right. Just because you have a verdict doesn't mean you actually recover.
Talk about something fun for a second. The past few weeks, Timberlake League and Brooks have been having parties for the World Cup, right? And I think we've got some video from this past week.
Well, we had a street watch party, and unfortunately, as many of you guys may have seen, USA is out. And so I was working Friday afternoon, and we got this video, and watching some of the World Cup with USA out, it's not as exciting as it was. I don't know who we're going to come behind. Is it Argentina, England, Spain, and I think France? So
some great parties, though.
Yeah, we did. The city came out and helped us close the road down. There was families, moms, dads, kids, brothers and sisters, and it was just a wonderful fellowship event for the community to come out and. I'm a soccer FIFA agent, and so I've got a couple of clients, and so of course,
nice.
Combining the two, I loved it.
Yeah.
Our partners were kind enough to let us shut the street down. Community came out. It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a good party. Good party. We got this email question in from Christy. Christy wrote in, I was in a car accident 2 weeks ago. The other party who hit me was in a rental car. I called the rental car company many times. They told me the person who's driving the car was not one of their renters, but the police report and information all stated the car was theirs. I filed a claim with my own insurance company to try and push them to do something about it. I need some advice.
Okay. All right, so I'll be quick. I think they're telling us we're short of time. However, rental car, people are taking vacations in the summer. There is rental car coverage if you check that little box. Typically, it's the state minimum, but that will not cover you if you cause more damage than what the state minimum is. You can get excess coverage on the rental car, but also, unless you have a provision excluding it, your car at home will provide coverage based on whatever policy you have, unless there's some exclusion. So check that exclusion, and because when you're checking those boxes, you need to know, because we don't want you in the same situation where you've got to pay a judgment and now you've got to either file bankruptcy, you have to find the insurance, or if you didn't have it, then your assets could be at risk or at play, and that makes it difficult.
Got a text question. With this heat, do establishments have a legal responsibility to have AC? If somebody faints, is the business responsible?
If you're renting a condo or whatnot, Alabama law, you don't, oddly enough. However, if they have AC in there already, they have to maintain it. They can't just let it break down the summer, so they do not. Now, you might not rent your place if you don't have AC, but that's an issue. Now, when you're talking about a nursing home facility, skilled nursing facility, when these people can't protect themselves, just like a daycare, or elderly folks where you got the most vulnerable, they do have to provide a habitable place for the residents. And if it's you hear this implied hability warranty, a warranty for living there safely, basically. And if they don't provide heat, water, those are necessities under Alabama law. AC is an amenity unless it's already in there.
We're going to take a break. Be right back answering more of your questions. Stay with us.
by Timberlake, League & Brooks, which pays an advertising fee to this station.
Answer tonight. Here's how to get in touch with Will League with Timberlake, League & Brooks in Huntsville, 256-536-0770 or 800-804-2502. The website is law-injury.com. And if you like them on Facebook, you can learn more about the law that way.
And we have our very own Sharon Doviet, 539-7337. Sharon Doviet, family law attorney, SharonFamilyLaw.com.
Had a caller calling in asking about cash-free facilities, places that won't take his cash, and he's frustrated with that. This is America. It's American money.
You know what?
And they don't take it.
Don't
Is
blame
that
him.
legal?
Don't blame him. Yes, sadly it is. You know, all right, so federal law, it's cash is legal tender. However, Alabama law does not force private merchants to accept cash. And I guess they could just lose the business. But I get it. Your battery's low. That app's not working. What are you supposed to do? Here you have cash. It should be accepted. But Alabama law does not force merchants to take that and, keep your battery charged, learn the apps. It's the way of the future, but I get it. It's frustrating.
Very frustrating. Thanks for your calls and questions. We'll see you next week.